With the world rushing to reach net zero, hotels and restaurants are leading a sustainable food revolution. We meet the visionaries behind the campaign, which looks set to change hospitality as we know it. Hello and welcome to The Exchange. I'm Guy Schoen, bringing you the biggest news and interviews from all around the business world. Demand for more sustainable food is growing, and increasingly governments and international organisations are urging us to change our diets to help the planet. But what about big businesses that consume much more resources than individual people? Well, the United Nations has outlined some key sustainability targets. The UN is calling for a world free from hunger by 2030, challenging companies to play their part in helping 2.4 billion people still struggling for regular access to adequate food. An estimated 17% of total food available to consumers is wasted. That's a staggering 931 million metric tons of potential meals. The UN is asking citizens, companies and governments to work together on reducing waste and shaping a new, more circular economy. And more urgent action is being recommended because nations' carbon emission commitments are currently not sufficient to limit warming and create a net zero world by 2050. Well, stark warnings there from the United Nations. Let's now speak to someone who's been working closely with the UN on this issue. I'm delighted to be joined by the celebrity chef and UN advocate on food waste, Leila Fathallah. Leila, welcome. What can chefs do then to help?
Well, first we start by the shopping phase. When we go to shop for our recipes, we should plan our week ahead. We go to buy our ingredients according to the list of the recipes we will be cooking this week. So we won't buy any items that would go waste at the end of the week. We have to calculate, just like in math, calculate what is the consumption of our family and cook accordingly. If we have more food, then we can give to other people. Let's cook or use the things we have in our cupboards, in our kitchen, before buying anything else. So this is how we have less food waste.
Interesting stuff there from Chef Leila Fathallah, sharing her experience of how going green for food works in practice. Earlier this year, I visited the Waldorf Astoria in Lusail, Qatar, to see what happens when an international hotel adopts a food sustainability strategy. Whilst I was there, I spoke to Emma Banks, one of the visionaries changing the way we consume food and drink when we travel. I also spoke to David Jackson from the tech firm tackling food waste.
Studies show that during Ramadan, and indeed during other celebrations and festivities, food waste can increase by about 25 to 50%. So it's quite a serious concern. We wanted to look at how we could make our Ramadan more sustainable. So we pitched the idea, and we now in those hotels put the recipe of change sustainability messaging on the iftar and suhoor offerings, just to make guests, not to kind of get on their nerves, but just make them think about food waste. We've partnered with local farms to use as much local and plant produce as possible, which again is more carbon friendly because we're negating the carbon footprint from the logistics of food miles. We're also looking at as much plastic reduction as possible. We also partnered with Winnow and used their AI technology to track and trace the amount of food waste and also allow us to have insights into how we can work on reducing food waste in the future.
So at Winnow, we develop artificial intelligence tools to help chefs run more profitable and sustainable kitchens by cutting food waste in half. The field of AI that we work in is computer vision, so we're teaching a machine to see and recognize the food that's being thrown away in our kitchens. We work with thousands of chefs in 67 countries. We're delighted to partner with Hilton as part of the Green Ramadan campaign, where our data is helping teams to pinpoint exactly where food is being wasted and then giving them the insights to drive change. They're able to identify specific items, specific areas of their buffets, and then introduce behavioural science-led nudges, which will help reduce food waste while also increasing customer satisfaction.
The Waldorf Astoria Hotel in Lusail there, showing that luxury and sustainability can truly work together. Now, July marks the beginning of the EU Green Week, which gives Europe an opportunity to celebrate the progress we've made and to encourage individuals, communities and organisations to take stronger action in the future to protect, preserve and restore our environment. Well, earlier I caught up with EU environmental spokesperson Adalbert Hans, who outlined why this event is so important.
The EU Green Week is something that we've been organizing for about 20 years now. And the point of it is to bring together the environmental community of policymakers and decision makers from all over Europe to Brussels, to a big conference to discuss how we move ahead with environmental policy in general. So it's a really important moment in terms of kind of collective thinking and advancing on the road towards sustainability. The European Green Deal is the first priority of this European Commission, and that's for a very good reason. It's because we really have a small window of opportunity right now to get to a more sustainable world that will really put our prosperity on a more solid footing without destroying our nature and really affecting our climate.
A more sustainable future then on the horizon for Europe. Now it's time for our regular feature, Business in 60 Seconds. Start the clock. Fashion giant Nike is set to report its latest quarterly earnings this month. In the period after the release of the hit Hollywood movie Air, the sneaker brand has enjoyed a big bounce in profits, thanks largely to the success of their direct-to-consumer strategy. Shareholders will be hoping to see a slam-dunk set of sales figures in their latest announcement. MasterCard is holding its AGM. Investors and executives are coming together at a time when this famous financial brand is looking to the future of payments technology by building on existing partnerships with crypto exchanges, including Binance, Nexo and Gemini, to offer crypto-linked payment cards. Marriott shareholders will also meet this month for its annual general meeting. The hotel group has continued its impressive recovery from tough times during the COVID pandemic, posting a strong end to 2022. The company has also recently signed a new deal to expand further into the Asian market. Not bad at all, very little waste. With the UN aiming for a world free from hunger by 2030, all companies are being called to play their part. But close to 1 billion metric tons of perfectly good food is still being wasted each year. Finding ways to feed the 2.4 billion people still struggling for adequate meals is going to take a major mindset change to the way the world does business. Well, that's all we have time for on this edition of the show. Thanks for watching. Please do check out Euronews.com for all your latest business news. And join us again next time on The Exchange.